So you talk about peace, and I'd like you to describe what that is like for you.
Well, it's a little different than you're picturing it, because it's not like anything for me, because it's not personal, you see? So basically, all it is that sense of presence and being, which doesn't have anything attached to it. There's no me attached to it. I'm feeling peaceful, or I'm feeling present, or I'm feeling connected, you see? There's just this sense of being, which can be described in all those ways as complete connection and oneness. But it would only be described that way by a person who is identified with it. Without that person, if you can just take yourself out of the picture, there's just a sense of being, a sense of presence that is primary. And everything else that goes on is secondary at best. It's in the distance. It goes on, but it has nothing to do with me, you see? And nothing has anything to do with me, because the me is very distant, and I don't associate with it personally anymore. So when I associate it with my thoughts and feelings personally, they were primary. They were here. When I no longer had a personal association with thoughts, feelings, and actions, they diminished and they became secondary at best. Secondary is too big a word for what they are, because when presence, when that sense of being is primary, it's so all there is that everything else is negligible. Maybe it's there, but who cares? You see what I mean?
When I see it as a meadow or nature, but without a human. And then I put a human in, and all of a sudden then the messy comes. So I'm just questioning, how do we have that meadow or ocean or your beautiful lake with a human?
Well,
So
it's easy actually, except that you can't do it.
and I happen to be a humanoid.
Well, yes, but as a human who thinks of herself as a human,
Yeah.
you
Kind of.
can't do it, because you're trying to do something that has already been done.
Okay.
Okay? Like I told you, everything has already happened.
Right.
The who that you are existed before you were born, will exist after you're gone, and exists now. Okay? It's always there. It's always been there. It always will be there. The who that you think you are is temporary phenomena. The only thing is that your attention is fixated on those thoughts and feelings and actions. Okay? It will only be for a short time, and then it won't be fixated on that anymore. When the body's gone, there's no point in focusing on thoughts, feelings, and actions. First of all, when the body's gone, there's no more actions. When the body's gone, there's no more thoughts. When the body's gone, there's no more feelings. Maybe a little residue that lasts for a short time, then it's gone. It's meaningless, you see. The fact that it's not meaningless now is the problem. You give it this meaning and this importance, you put it here. It never deserved to be here, because God is here. Everything, the whole universe is contained within you. You're focused on that little thought and feeling and action, body, all of that, you see? That's not who you are. So you're still thinking about, well, how do I as a human get there?
Right.
You don't have to get there. All you have to do is realize you already are there.
Okay.
If you realize that, they don't call it like, they call it realization. They don't call it like, earned certificate of enlightenment. You don't finally earn it and get there, You realize that you're there. You realize it's there. That's all there ever was. Then you laugh at how hard you tried to get there, you see, because you were already there. How in the world could you not be who you are? You're just pretending. Ever since you were born, you were taught to pretend to be this person. And obviously your teachers were very good and you learned how to pretend to be Tracy. And now you're fully involved in Tracy. Okay? That was never who you were. And I have a feeling you knew that before and you just forgot it because it's convenient to forget. You want to enjoy this drama? You have to forget. If you're watching the TV and all you see are colors on the screen and sound coming out of a speaker, you're not going to enjoy the drama. You have to get involved. You have to believe that those are actual mountains and there's actually a plane and all this stuff is actually happening. When you believe that, you enjoy it. And then you say, wow, what a good show. That was great. So that's all. So it's just convenient for you to forget. And then, after a certain amount of suffering, it's not so convenient anymore. And you might want to remember what you remembered when you were born. You remembered this. You already knew this. And then you forgot it. Remind yourself that you knew this. You talk to a child. You talk to a child that's just at the point where they're just beginning to talk and ask them if they remember before they were born, and they'll tell you. They'll tell you all kinds of stuff. Everyone knows. Everyone knew. We all know. That's why you're here. I always felt with my gurus, they were reminding me of what I already knew. They were just reminding me. It's just a reminder. There's a reminder class of just remembering who you are. You already know who you are. You know it on a deeper level than you think, literally. You see? You're thinking, before that came into being, before that became predominant, you already knew everything. And what you knew was not anything that could really be held in a thought. You see? You knew much more. And babies are just so pure, everyone wants to just love them, love them, love them. They draw that because they're the purity of everyone, the same. You see? And then we do our best to muck that all up. You see? And then, that's the way it's played, that's all. So you can enjoy your play, and if it's not that enjoyable anymore, you can get out. You can get moksha. Everyone can have liberation. Get out of this prison of thinking and feeling and making that who you are.
Is enjoying the drama a bad thing?
No, nothing's a bad thing. Everything's just what it is. And you understand that this dance, this whole lila that goes on, is just a part of the whole. It's part of it, you see. So it's part of it, the dance, all of it, the movement, the appearance of differences is just a part of the whole. So there's nothing wrong with it. And, it doesn't matter whether you get it or not, really. It doesn't matter. You're someone who has a spiritual inclination because of it was planted in you before you were born. And you're just following that inclination. So you are moving away from being fully involved in the drama of life. But most people are not. And that's fine, because it doesn't really matter. It's just temporary. Yes?
Would it be accurate to say that God dances the dream in me, as me? Is it God that's dancing in all of our lives, with some of us conscious of Him and some of us not conscious, or moments of consciousness and then forgetting, like clouds covering the sun, or, when you are like absorbed in the dream and you've forgotten who you are, God is still there doing that dance?
Yeah, 100%. Now you see, you understand that the who that you are is not the who that's pretending to be who you are. But at the same time, there is nothing that is not God. So your mind is God as well. Your thoughts, your feelings, all of it's God.
And the forgetfulness is God?
Of course it is.
Wow.
But you understand that you never forgot. Okay? You're not your feelings, you're not your thoughts. There are feelings, there are thoughts. There is involvement, there is forgetfulness. But none of that has anything to do with who you are. It has nothing to do with you. Okay? You've personalized your life. You were taught to personalize your life, and that's the way it works, because that's what makes this drama enjoyable, is personalization. Okay? So that's all right. There's no problem with it. You have this spiritual gene, which is rare. What they say in the Vedas is 1 in 1,000 people will be interested. You see? And 1 in 1,000 people that are interested will understand. You see? So it's rare. You happen to have that. It's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Okay? If it's what you're meant for, then that's what it is. So that's your destiny.
It makes doing the dream harder, and you're here but you're not here, and then when you forget, you really forget. It's just, I guess that's why I'm impatient with myself sometimes, because I know there's stuff I'm forgetting while I'm doing whatever I'm doing. But
you just take that 10 minutes out of every hour. Start doing that as your practice, okay? Because this forgetfulness is simply a matter of, it's testing your sincerity on this journey. You see, you're pretending and you know better.
Yeah.
I mean, in your particular case, it's strong with that. You're pretending and you know better, so, okay, let's get serious now. Okay, the coronavirus is on its way. We don't know how much longer we have. Just take 10 minutes out of every hour to remember who you are. Whatever form that takes for you. It could be chanting, it could be meditating, it could be just whatever, looking at your guru's picture. It could be whatever it is that helps you remember. And you remember, 10 minutes out of every hour. You know, you can even be doing other stuff. You can be doing the dishes, you can be doing whatever. And just remembering that sense of presence, that sense of being that is always with you. And you won't forget as easily if you do that. You see? And if you forget, it's really a symptom of you're not doing your due diligence in this. You know, eventually you have to get serious about it. I did my sadhana a long time, for 21 years. And it wasn't until like the last year or two that it got so serious that it was like, okay, look, I've done everything. I've done everything I can possibly do. The only thing I hadn't done was remember. And so I just made a commitment that I would never forget. I was not going to forget anymore. And it took different forms, different ways to remind myself constantly. And it did bear fruit, because I had all this foundation behind me. It was interesting, because when you have that foundation behind you, then it just fills in the gaps. It's kind of like, it's like a dam, and when it gets a crack in it, the water fills everything, you see? So remember, it just fills everything. And then when you forget, it just opens up a crack and it fills everything. And you see, so you forget, and then you forget to remember even more. You see? So when you forget, it's your opportunity to remember. It's your opportunity, and you can expect that you're going to forget. So good. It's your opportunity to remember. So when you forget, there's an absence of love. There's an absence of that sense of presence, of peace, of acceptance with everything. It's not there. It's gone. Where did it go? You want to find it. Because it is there. It's just your attention is diverted. You see, and it's a habit. It's a habit. The mind has this, the mind really, you see, is using you. The mind is playing a game, playing a trick on you, and sucking all your attention away from God onto itself. And you see, now the mind is your God. Now your thoughts and feelings and whatever it is you're into is now your God, because that's what you're focused on. That's your religion. Me. Okay? So let's take 10 minutes out of every hour to shift that. And if you do this diligently, you'll find you're even doing it in your sleep. You'll find it's always with you. You'll find nothing can shake it. And if something does shake it, you'll find it come from behind and grab you back. You see? If you use the tools and you keep the tools with you and you stick with it. Okay? So do this and refuse to allow yourself to fall into this habit of forgetting. You see, really, I mean, that's all that it is now. You have the basics. You've been with gurus, and they have told you a lot, and they've given you a lot, and you already have it in the seed has been planted. Everything is there for all of you. Everything is already there. It's already there, and all you need to do is simply see it and be with it and make that the thing that grabs your attention. And when you lose it, bring it back. Remember it. Constantly remember. And eventually, you won't have to work hard to remember, because that's all there'll be. And all the forgetfulness will be somewhere in the distance, and no one's going to care. No one's going to give a shit about it. And you know, when no one cares about it, it's not really a problem anymore. It's only a problem when it grabs your attention, you take it seriously, you take it personally, and you care. And you want it to go this way, and you don't want it to go that way. You don't like it this way, and you like it that way. Blah blah blah, and then you know, you're in the old circle game there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know that place.
yeah, we all do. So it's all right, but there's a way out. There's a way out. I'm offering it to you. I've cleared a path for you. All you have to do is follow it. That's all you have to do now. Everyone here, take that 10 minutes out of every hour. I guarantee you, if you do that, it'll bear fruit in no time at all. Yes?
All right, so sometimes I'm, in nature, hiking, or
Yeah.
I'm with a client, and I have to be very, well, I want to be, as present
Yes.
as possible. If I'm totally in the now and present with a client or with nature, does that count?
Yes.
Okay.
One-pointedness, you see? There's no extraneous stuff going on.
Right.
Okay? There's no, I'm being one-pointed. There's no, I'm doing this. It's just, it's that same om.
Okay.
Now, there's action going on, but that's necessary in life. I'm not saying that, you just become one with peace and oneness and, get in your car and drive into a telephone pole. It's like you still have to stop at the light and this and that. You see, there's some functioning that still has to go on. But you're just one-pointed. So I notice that when I do my work, it's so one-pointed. I'm very efficient. I'm very efficient. I get so much done quickly. But that's through focus. Complete one-pointedness on whatever it is I'm doing. Nothing extraneous. Nothing extraneous.
Okay, so like with the client or with doing a project, then I can see it as one-pointedness in my seva,
Yes.
whatever.
Well, it's just like japa. Japa, you're focusing on one thing, the mantra. Dun, 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 dun. This is your japa at the moment, is listening, being one-pointed, and the way that it works with people will be really good. Mm-hmm. It'll help. It'll help because you'll be bringing that unicity to everything you do. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
They feel it.
Mm-hmm. That's why I say you can do this while you're doing the dishes. Whatever it is.
As long as you're in the moment with the dishes.
Well, that's what I'm saying, yes. It doesn't prevent you. It doesn't, it's like most people are doing the dishes and they're thinking about everything else. And you look at the dishes and you can see it.
We have dish problems.
It happens.
But you love that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I can see I'm laughing at myself because as you're giving the advice, I was thinking, oh, well, I can do this one technique to unconditionally love everything that I was triggered about so-and-so situation, whatever. So, but I'm doing it.
Yes, it's still approximation, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. That's all right.
What do you do about that?
Well, nothing. You just mimic the truth and fake it until you make it.
Okay.
That's all. Just fake it till you make it, but don't fool yourself. You see, you know that you're still doing it.
Yes.
But that's fine. Okay, this is just ultimately, there's nothing to do. But until then, you just do what you can.
Okay.
You see?
Yes.
Until what I'm prescribing is something for you to do. 10 minutes out of every hour. You're still doing it. Ultimately, when you remember, all the effort is gone. And all there is is that sense of being. There's not even anyone remembering anymore. It's just what is, you see? But in the meantime, I'll prescribe to you this thing to do. And my personal experience was that worked. When I still had a personal experience, it actually did work in the end. And then there was no more personal experience. You see, because this sense of being is something that predates personal experience and postdates it as well.
Okay, I have another question.
Sure.
Okay, so in the Akasha records, you know when everybody is born, it's all recorded, someone's born, you know when they're going to die, you know who they're going to marry, everything's all written down.
Yes.
But that is still super personal. Why would there be the records if it's not personal?
No. All it is a story. It's a story. So there's this history, okay? I mean, you can imagine that there was a history of someone in the Middle Ages who did this and that and went through a life and was born and died and no one knows about it anymore. Okay? We can stretch and think of it as personal, but you can kind of see that it's just a story. You see, you can see that it's just a story. It happened 500 years ago. Maybe that person took it personally, but that person died 500 years ago, and there's really no personal left in it, because no one even remembers who that person was.
Right.
Okay? But that's you now. You're taking everything personally, but it doesn't matter. There's still a record of all of this. There's still a record of everything that happens. It's just kind of like, okay, so like you have a book, and in the book there are these characters, and all these things happen to these different characters in the book. But, none of these people ever existed. It's a novel. It's not anything that ever happened, but you can read it, and it was there, you see? So that here you have a book, a massive book, an encyclopedia of all the stories of life, you see? And that's all. But none of it was ever personal, even if the person who was there took it personally at that moment. And that's just a phenomenon of what it is to have a drama. To have a drama, if you have a play, everyone in the play is pretending to be someone, and pretending to do something, and pretending to feel something. And if they're really good at it, they get a Tony. You see? But they're not that person. They know they're not that person. They go home every night. They have their own lives. And for 2 hours every day, they pretend to be someone. So here you have a lifetime, and for that lifetime you pretend to be someone, but it has nothing to do with anything. Even if you take it personally, it's not. It's not personal. You're just pretending. That's all. There can still be a record. There was still a playwright, and he still wrote down all the lines, and everything was written there. And even though you saw the play for the first time and enjoyed it, it's been done, hundreds of times before, exactly the same. And you enjoyed it because you put everything aside and pretended that they were really what they were pretending to be. That's how you enjoy it. So it's just convenient to pretend. So you can enjoy the play. Now, if you're a spiritual being, the level of enjoyment of that play is kind of fading. And the interest in being a part of that fades, you see? That's all. So it's just, in these particular cases, you're at the end of the run. You've seen enough plays, you've been in enough of the play, you're done. Yeah, that's all. It's just a matter of evolvement, you could say, but that puts a judgment on it. But there's just some people who are done. You see? And so they come here, and I can help you finish this play. Before God finishes it, before your show gets canceled, you can opt out. You can walk out of the theater and let the play go on without you. Everything will be fine. Huh? Good then. That was nice.